Welcome to the Cube Solutions Submitting Content tutorial. In this tutorial, we will show you how to edit your submit content form. First, we will head over to our website and log in and be greeted with the dashboard. Next, we will select Pages and we will view all pages. Next, we will look and find the page titled Content. Upon hovering over the page, we have the option to edit, quick edit, trash, view, duplicate, or edit with Elementor. Please note we will use the edit with Elementor option as we are using the Elementor page builder. Again, this is all related to the speed of your internet connection. The faster your internet connection, the faster the page will load. Starting off, we will use the mouse to hover over a section on the page. As you can see, hovering over the section, a blue border has appeared around everything selected. First, we will select the 6 dots at the top and select Edit Section. As you can see on the left hand side, we have a sidebar appear which will allow us to change the layout of the section, including changing the content width, the column gap, height, vertical alignment, overflow, and even edit the structure of the section. Next, we will move to the Style section. Here we are able to add a background image, background color, add scrolling effects to the background, mouse effects, and so forth. We also have an option to add an overlay to the background, as well as add a border if we require one, or even add a shape divider. Following that, we have the option to change the typography of the section, which includes all the text colors. Moving on to the advanced section, here we are able to edit the margin and padding of the section. As you can see, we currently have a top and bottom padding of 100 and 0 for the left and right padding. Next, we will move on to the column. Using our mouse, we will hover over the section and we will see the column button appear. Selecting it again, we will see the sidebar appear on the left hand side. Here we have the option to change the column width, vertical alignment, horizontal alignment, widget space, and so forth of the column. Moving on to the Style section, again we have the option to add a background, a color, an image, add scrolling effects and mouse effects, add a background overlay to the column, add a border to the column, which you can see we currently have set to a normal border, solid, with a width of 1 all around. We're also able to change the color of the border by selecting the option here and choosing the color we prefer. Lastly, we have the option to enter a border radius. This will round off the edges of the border. We have currently set it as nothing in order to have a square border. Moving forward to the typography section, again we have the options to change all the text and link colors. Lastly, in the advanced section, we're able to edit the margin and the padding. As you can see, for the padding, we have a top padding of 100. We have a top padding of 50 and a padding on the right, bottom and left of 150. Moving forward, we are now going to start editing the actual widgets. Again, using our mouse and hovering over a section, we will see the thin blue line appear. Selecting the Edit Widget option, the sidebar will appear on the left hand side. As you can see, we are able to change the title of the widget. We are able to add a link to the title, as well as edit the size and the HTML tag. Moving on to the styling section, we can choose the color of the title. We will set it back to back for the time being. We also have the option to change the typography. Here we're able to change the font of the text, the size, weight, and so forth. Moving forward, we can even add a text shadow. By selecting this button, we can choose the color of the shadow, the blur, horizontal and vertical settings for it. We will set this back to default and we will close the section. Moving on to the advanced section, again we have options to change the margin and the padding. As you can see, we currently have the padding set to 50 on this widget. Moving on to the next section is a small text widget. Again, we will select the Edit Widget button and the sidebar will appear on the left hand side. As you can see, here is the text that we currently have selected for the section. Next, we are able to go to the styling section and change the alignment, text color, the typography, which includes the family font, the size, weight, and so forth. We're also able to edit the columns as well as the column gap. Moving on to the advanced section, again we have options to edit the margin and the padding. As you can see, we have left this as standard as there is no padding needed. Moving on to the actual form widget. Again, we will select the edit widget button and we will see the sidebar on the left hand side appear. Once we have loaded that, we will select content and we will see there will be a few tabs for us to select. First, we will work with the form fields. The form fields are all the fields that are displayed on the form. As you can see, we currently have a section titled Name, Email, Phone, Preferred Category, Title of Article, the article write-up, as well as options to add any attachments. Once selecting the form fields, you will see all the forms appear. Selecting an actual form will open it and we can change the content. As you can see, we currently have the type set as text, and this is a name field. We have no placeholder, and we have selected this as a required field with a column width of 100. Closing the name form, we will move on to the email. As you can see, the type is set to email with the label email, no placeholder, it is required, and we have set the column width to 50. Please note we have set this to 50 in order for the phone column to fit next to it. Closing the email section, we will go on to the phone section. Again, the type for this is telephone. We have selected the label as phone with no placeholder and have marked it as required with a column width of 50% in order to fit next to the email section. Again, we will close the phone section and we'll open the preferred category. As you can see, the type again is text with the label preferred category. It does not have a placeholder, is not required, and has a column width of 100%. Next, we will enter the title of the article. Again, the type of this field is text with the label title of article, no placeholder, it is not required, and has a column width of 100%. Moving on from the article title of the article, we will go to the article write-up. As you can see, we have the type set up as text area with a label of article write-up. There is no placeholder, it is not required, and has a column width of 100%. Moving on from the article write-up, we will now edit the attachment sections. As you can see, the 4 attachments are simply titled item 7, 8, 9, and 10. Selecting item 7, we can see we have the type set as file upload. We have no label, it is not required, and we have set a max file limit of 10 megabytes. We're also able to choose to allow certain file types, allow multiple files, and to change the column width. As you can see, item 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all exactly the same for if somebody would like to upload more than one attachment. Next, we have the label section. This will show us the labels of each field. We will put this back to show. Moving forward, we will do the submit button. Here we can change the text of the button, the size, the column width, the alignment, as well as add an icon if needed. Moving forward to the actions after submit, as you can see, this will show us what will happen after we submit the content. Moving forward to the email section, this shows us where the email is sent to, the subject, all the fields included in the message, the from email, the from name, the reply to. If we require any CCs, we can add them here, as well as add or remove any metadata. Lastly, in the additional options, we can change the form ID or create a custom message. Moving on to the style of the form widget, we have the option to change the column gap, the row gap, the label spacing, the text color, the typography of the text, where we can change the font, size, weight, and so forth. We also have the option to go to the field. In this section, we can change the color of the text, as well as the typography, which includes the font, size, weight, and so forth. We are also able to edit the background color, border width, and border radius. Moving on to the button section, you can see we have the options to change the color of the background, the text color, as well as the typography, which includes the font, size, weight, and so forth. We also have the option to add a border and change the border radius. Lastly, moving on to the message section, we can edit the typography, including the font, size, weight, and so forth of the message. We are also able to change the color for successful, error, or inline messages. Moving on to the advanced section, we can edit the margin and padding. As you can see, we have left this as default as it is fitting nicely on the page. Once we are done, we will simply hit the update button and you have now edited your submit content page.